De Shri Gurun Dinatardanam Paramanandamadavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. So, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna about his nature. He's saying, I told you so many things about myself as the Supreme, but now I'll explain to you even more knowledge. Because unless one understands the opulence of the Lord, one cannot develop attachment or devotion for God. You know, people say, God is great. Well, that's nice. Yes, God's great. But you should know how great God is, right? How great God is. People don't know how great God is. But even though Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago, people are thinking that no such person as Krishna even existed. They say it's just a story. Just a story, right? Even though you can go to Kurukshetra, you can see the field, the place where Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, but people are saying, no, it's just a mythology. Mythology, right? So people will act nicely in society. So somebody made up this story about Krishna just so people will follow some ethical principles. But it's not true. Well, we disagree. Such persons can never understand the message of Krishna. Never. Right? We know that Krishna existed. He lifted Govardhan Hill. He gave the message of Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra to Arjuna for our benefit. So many persons, they take the words of Krishna and try to twist out their own philosophy. In my opinion, I think Krishna meant this, or he meant that. But no, what value is your opinion? Every conditioned soul is suffering from 4 basic defects. He has imperfect senses, he's bound to make mistakes, he has cheating propensity, right? Imperfect senses. But Krishna's knowledge is not like that. Krishna's knowledge is perfect because it's coming from a perfect person. All knowledge that comes from a conditioned soul can never be perfect. It's always tainted by some relative truth. And that's not a big thing to say, oh, he's speaking the truth. Even a child can speak the truth, right? But it's not the absolute truth. When Krishna speaks, it's the absolute truth. It was true 5,000 years ago when Krishna spoke it in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It's true today, and 5,000 years from now, it'll continue to be true. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jara tatadahantara praptir dhiras tatra namuyati. Krishna says that previously a living entity has a baby body, then a child's body, then a young person's body, then a middle-aged body, then an old person's body. And just as in this life, he's changing bodies, he changes bodies again at death. Gets a new body. Right? So that was true 5,000 years ago. It's true today. And it's 5,000 years from now, it'll still be true. And it's true for everybody. It's not just for Hindus. Only Hindus have baby body? Christians and Muslims, they don't have baby bodies. Huh? They also have. They also change. Child, young person, old age. Huh? So Krishna's knowledge, Krishna's Gyan is the absolute truth. It's eternal knowledge, not temporary knowledge. Tattva vijnanam. So, when we hear the message of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, especially in this chapter, the opulence of the Absolute, we'll understand something about Krishna, something about his nature, being all-powerful, filled with all knowledge, all renunciation, all beauty. Krishna is very beautiful. Huh? When Krishna was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was already 125 years old. But he only looks like he's 18, 19. Not more than that. Why? Because Krishna's Navayovanam. He doesn't have a material body. He didn't come to this material world because he was forced to by the material nature. We as conditioned souls, we don't have a choice. Can you say, in my next birth, I'll be born in Bengaluru? Can you pick and choose? No. In this life, if you want, you can change. You can go to Bombay. You can go to Calcutta. But after you leave this body, you're in the hands of the Daiva Prakriti, the material nature. No choice. They'll give you according to what you deserve. Huh? Just like if you go to buy an apartment in Bangalore, one nice apartment in a good area, how much it cost? 4 CR? 3 CR? 1 CR? Right? If you only got 10 lakhs, how you'll buy a flat with that cost 1 CR or 2 CR? It's not possible. You have to get what they call in Bombay chobrapati, a hut. Again, 10 lakhs means hut. Previously, for 10 lakhs, you could buy a nice apartment for 10, but not today. Today, kuch bhi nahi milta hai. You can't buy anything. But anyway, in the same way, when we leave this body, according to our karma, according to our pious credits, we'll get a certain kind of body. Scientific. It's not sentimental. Oh, sentimental thing. It's very scientific. Right? If we've acted properly, piously, then next life will be elevated. What does that elevation mean? Good family, good education, some wealth will be there, right? And if we've acted impiously, what is impious? What does it mean to be impious? It means to break the 4 religious principles. And what are those? Meat eating, gambling, and illicit sex life, right? Nowadays, these are rampant. Sinful activities are rampant. Every corner, there's a family restaurant and bar. How the bar became family restaurant? Bar became family. Huh? So much nonsense going on. Slaughtering poor innocent animals. When we were coming today, we saw one whole truckload of goats. Big, as big as this. So many goats. Why? They're cutting. So in your next life, you can be a goat and you'll be cut by the laws of karma. Huh? But just because I don't believe that, does that mean it won't happen to you? You do all nonsense and because you don't believe, nothing will happen? No. The nature will act. If a small child thinks that he can stick his finger, when I was a little kid, my mother said, we had a gas stove, right? And she was cleaning the gas stove, and there was a pilot light over one small little metal plate, pilot light. So she was cleaning, and she said, hey, don't touch that. And I thought, why not? I'll touch it. And I touched that and burnt my finger like anything. I had a blister this big. And I had to go to the doctor and this. Right? So I thought nothing will happen. And I touched it, boom, suffer. So these people foolishly think, nothing will happen. We can do what we like. Whatever makes us happy, we'll do. Right? Okay, but then you have to suffer. Huh? Otherwise, you explain why one person is born crippled, blind. Another person can see and walk perfectly well. Why? Because of karma, because of a previous life. God is fair, God is just, right? If everything is just one time in life, why would God do that? No. And one can say, well, why does God make suffering? Why did He make suffering? No. God doesn't want us to suffer. But because we foolishly want to be separate from God, we don't care for God. Therefore, He has to think of a place where we can go. He has to make a place. Because in the spiritual world, everybody's in love with God. They love God. They like Him so much. He's so beautiful. Right? But we're the conditioned souls thinking, Are I'm also beautiful. I'll also enjoy. So God has to think where to keep this person. Right? He can't be in my abode because everybody's in love with me and He's in love with Himself. So what to do? So He makes this material world. So you can think, I'm very beautiful, I'm very rich, everybody loves me, I'm as good as God. So you can think like that. But at the same time, you're having toothache, you're having arthritis, you're having so many difficulties, wife is not listening, husband's beating the wife, so many problems. Isn't it? So that's the material world. Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. So after many births of suffering in the material world, an intelligent person wakes up and asks, why am I suffering here? Why am I suffering in this place? How do I end the suffering? That's an intelligent person. And they become a fit person to hear Bhagavad Gita because they're a little serious. As long as I'm thinking, oh yes, I can enjoy, I'll be happy, I'll work hard, I'll earn money, I'll be happy, then they can't understand Bhagavad Gita. In one ear and out the other. But someone who understands the nature of this material world and how much of a struggle it is here in the material world, they can appreciate Bhagavad Gita. By hearing the opulences of Lord Krishna, by understanding Krishna's exalted position, by understanding how Krishna is great, not just that He's great, but how He's great. He's Navayovanam, eternally youthful. And He enjoys with His devotees. He puts Himself in His holy name. He makes His holy name non-different from Him. There's one saying in Hindi. Ram ka naam, Ram se bada. Right? The holy name. It's so Krishna is powerful, Krishna's name is also powerful. Simply by chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, we can become completely purified. All the sins go away. The name of Krishna is so powerful. We become free from more sins than you can commit just by chanting His holy name. Right? Of course, when you become free from sins by chanting, one has to be determined not to commit sins again. Not that, okay, chanting the holy name cleans me of sins, so this week I'll go out and commit so many sins. On Sunday I'll come to the temple and chant. On Monday I'm back sinning. That doesn't work. That's offensive. Right? Krishna's name can relieve us of all our sinful activities, provided we're determined to not perform those sins again. And what is sin? Meat-eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex life. These things. If you're not following these things, you can't claim that I'm a human being. It's animal life. Right? So, this Bhagavad Gita, this knowledge in Bhagavad Gita is for the human being. So that the human being can perfect this life and not have to come back here into this material world ever again. It's a miserable place. There's so many examples of exalted devotees that they were fallen, but because they chanted the holy name, they attained liberation, freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Like Ajamil. Ajamil was born in a Brahmin family, but due to bad association, he fell down. He married a prostitute, and he performed so many sinful activities to maintain that prostitute. All sins. His whole Brahminical training was gone. But he had named his youngest son Narayan. And at a very old age, he had a son. He was 80 years old, but he had a son. Somehow. And he named him Narayan. So, death, due to the time factor, death came. And when death was there, the messengers of death, called the Yamadutas, they came to take the soul. When the soul leaves the body, the Yamadutas are there. They tie him up with not ordinary ropes, but kind of subtle ropes. Because they take the Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Sharira means the subtle self. Besides this gross body, there's a subtle body. The subtle body is the mind, intelligence, and the false ego. It's a subtle body. Just like when the aroma of a flower, it goes in the air. It's carried by the air. The air is one thing, and the aroma is another thing. But they mix together, and they're carried to your nose, and you smell the aroma of the flower, right? In the same way, when the soul leaves the body, it's carried by the mind, intelligence, and the false ego to the next body. Right? So the Yamadutas are there, and they get that subtle body, and they take him to Yamaraj for punishment, for judgment, right? And there's one assistant. He has an assistant called Chitragupta. And he writes down all the sins, one after another. Right? And there's witnesses also, right? It's not like you can do sin and get away with it. There's watching the sky, the sun, the moon, the air, right? Maybe you can hide from the sun and the moon, but you can't hide from the air. The air is also a witness. They're there, and the Chitrakuta reads the sins. And the air and the moon and the sun, they're there. Yes, I saw. There's a witness, Sakshi. Bus finished in punishment. But Ajamil chanted the name. He saw his son. He saw the Yamadutas coming. And he said, Narayan. He called out the name of Narayan in helpless mood. And immediately at that point, the messengers of Narayan came, the Vishnudutas. And they were effulgent. The Yamadutas looked hideous, long teeth and nails and hairs. But the Vishnudutas had beautiful golden helmets. And they had 4 arms with a club and a lotus flower and a conch shell. And they told the Yamadutas, wait a minute, you can't take him. And they said, why not? He's a sinful rascal. Our duty is to take him to Yamaraj. No, he chanted the name of Narayan. You can't take him. And they thought, well, and they couldn't do anything. They had to go back to Yamaraj. And they complained, Yamaraj, my Lord, is there anybody more powerful than you? These persons came and they stopped us from taking that sinful man Ajamil. And he said, what did they look like? And they explained. And Yamaraj said, oh, those are the messages of Vishnu. And because he chanted the holy name, they came to rescue him. Right? So whenever you see someone who is a follower of Vishnu, they're not your jurisdiction, right? Sometimes you go to a police station to make a complaint, and the police say, no, that's not our jurisdiction. You have to go to this police station, right? Actually, they don't want to do any work, that's why, so they go there. But Yamaraj said, this is not your jurisdiction. You leave them. You go to others, but you leave them. If they're wearing this kantimala, they're keeping tilak, they're chanting the holy name, not for you. Right? So see the power of the holy name. He was chanting for his son, but because the name came, Narayan, it acted. And he came back to the body, and he went to Haridwar, and he performed very strict Nam Seva, devotional service. And then when he left the body, he went back to the spiritual world. This is the power of the holy name. The holy name is so powerful that even if there's the name that's included in some other word, you can get benefit. Just like one Muslim man, he was being killed by a wild pig, right? So they say that's haram. Haram. So the name of Ram is there. So even though he was chanting haram, because he was being killed by the wild pig, he got the benefit of spiritual elevation. So the name is very powerful. Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes. If we absorb ourselves in those things, then we needn't fear the Yamadutas, we didn't even fear anything. Maya. Maya is very powerful. We don't want to do sin. We're thinking, I won't do sin, but we do sin anyway. Arjuna says to Krishna, and Krishna says, because of lust. Lust is in the heart. That lust in the heart drives us to do the sinful activities. So we have to clear the lust from the heart. And that can be done by chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. But you know what the problem is? We think we have no time. In Kali Yuga, this is the biggest disease. People think they have no time for chanting. No time. But they have time for video, TV, cinema, newspapers. Well, they have to have newspaper. You got to have the newspaper. You got to see your cell phone. Right? But for chanting, no time. This is the disease. Very bad disease. Terrible disease. Right? So Srila Prabhupada started this International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give everyone an opportunity to learn how to use their time properly in the service of Krishna. Time is so valuable. Chanakya Pandit says, even if you want to buy 1 minute of your life back, even if you're ready to pay crores of rupees, you can't get even 1 moment back. Once it's gone, it's gone. In this life, in this body, when we are born, we have so many breaths, like money in the bank. If you have 1 lakh rupees in the bank, every time you're spending 100 rupees, after some time, finish. In the same way, when you're born into this world, you come from your mother's womb and you begin to breathe, is fixed number. Fixed. Not even one breath you can extend. Right? And when it's up, it's over. Right? And if you want to get time back, you can't pay any amount to get it back. So how valuable is time? So how time should be spent? Huh? Time should be spent chanting, reading Bhagavad Gita, coming to the temple and seeing the deities nicely dressed. These simple things can protect us from wasting our time and help us understand the glories and the opulences of Lord Krishna, how Krishna is all-powerful, all knowledgeable, full of bliss, so that at the end of this life, we can go back home, back to the spiritual world. Hare Krishna. Have you got any questions? Yeah, you talking to Mike.
So Ajamila's time has come and he was supposed to die at that point of time. So how come his time got extended?
Because Krishna extended it and the time wasn't up yet. Almost up. But because he chanted the name Narayan, he got a little extension.
Okay.
If Krishna wants, he can give you also extension. Huh?
That's Krishna's plan. I don't know what's...
He can give extension if you want. But that's if you chant his name. If you don't chant the name, no extension.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thanks for the wonderful class. When the body goes to the hell, actually the physical body is left in this planet itself. So the settled body, what you said is the mind, intelligence and false ego. How do they get punished with that body?
Because they cover the body with another kind of subtle body so they can experience the punishment. It's not a gross body, but it's a subtle covering, an extra covering. Besides mind, intelligence, and false ego, another subtle covering. And one experiences so many different hellish sufferings. And for each sin, there's a particular suffering. And when the mentality of the living entity becomes suitable for the next body, then he goes into another mother's womb. But that can happen very quickly. You know, time is a relative thing. We think of time and measured by sunlight up and sundown and seconds, but that's all relative. Krishna says, time I am. So he can make time work in any way. Just see how he makes that work on the material energy. First you pick a flower, and it's very attractive, nice smell, but after some time, it becomes all dried up, rotten. That's the influence of the time factor. And Krishna says, time I am, the destroyer of all the worlds. So we try to make a nice place for ourselves, a nice apartment, a nice family, a nice bank balance, right? But in time, everything becomes finished. We're not allowed to stay there. We have to get out. Right? So, for the devotee of the Lord, he's not affected by the time. He's happy everywhere, whether he's in this material world or in the hellish planets or in the heavenly planets, he's the same because he's serving Krishna. So, learning how to serve Krishna properly is the reason Prabhupada made Iskcon. And this kind of inquiry should be there for every intelligent person. How do I stop my suffering? How do I stop this continuously cycle of birth and death, old age, disease? How to do that? And that's why he's written these books. Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna.
Any other question?
One here.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, in Granthas it is written that in Kali Yuga, Kalki avatar will come. Like Ram came to kill Ravana, Krishna came to establish the Dharma. But anyway, now in Kali Yuga, normal human beings are there, whom he will kill and what he will destroy actually. Kalki avatar. Any idea?
Huh? Oh, Kalki avatar. Oh. What will Kalki do when he comes?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll do a lot
What,
of-
whom he is going to kill. But anyway, because earth anyway normal human beings are
He's
living.
going to be
Right?
killing everybody.
Okay.
Everybody who's not a devotee. And at that time, there won't be hardly any devotees left. 400,000 years from now, Kalki will come. No more preaching. No more speaking Bhagavad Gita. Now you can hear Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's come in the form of the Gita, His holy name. But that, after 400,000 years, no holy name, no nice preaching.
Yes.
Only talwar.
Hare Krishna.
Kalki avatar. But now you can take advantage. You know, why wait here for another 400,000 years? Take advantage of the holy name and perfect your spiritual life now. Why are you waiting? Don't wait around to see what Kalki does. It won't be a nice place. It won't be pretty. It won't be pretty.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have two questions. My first question is, if we take a spiritual guru or a senior devotee, and we as a practicing devotee, so the thing which I feel is the thinking, the speaking and actions should be in sync. But as a junior devotee, I would say the actions sometimes is not in sync with what we think or what we speak. So what is that key when that is your like
See,
practice?
the original guru is who? Krishna. Okay? So, those who are following the instructions of Krishna, speaking what Krishna spoke, they are guru. So you have to give a little time, a little study, understand what Krishna is saying. And if the person is saying what Krishna says, then you can follow that person. So you have to do your homework and know what you're getting yourself into. If you want to go buy gold in the market, you should know what gold is. Otherwise you'll be cheated. Isn't it? Anybody can say, I'm a guru, but are you following the words of Krishna? Are you saying what Krishna said? Are you changing something? So this is guru. A guru is like a postman. The postman, he delivers the letter. That's all. He doesn't change anything. It's not proper if the postman opens a letter and edits the letter and then gives you. No. What Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the guru should deliver it as it is. No change. Then you can follow. And if you think that without guru, I'll make advancement, it'll be more difficult. Because Krishna is within your heart. Sarvasya chaham ridisani visto. Krishna is in the heart. And it's His instruction. Tadviti pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. You go to a tattvadarshana who has seen the truth, and you render service, seva, and you make inquiry, prashna, question. By these two things, rendering seva, asking relevant questions, then Krishna from within your heart, He will enlighten you in the process of devotional service. Ultimately, it's Krishna's mercy. But He's explaining to us how to get that mercy by this process. Approach the Tattva Darshana What is the tattva? Tattva is Krishna. Mata parantaram nyanyat kintidasti jananjaha. He's the highest truth. Tattvadarshana. So someone who's fixed in Krishna, you go to him and do seva. And you ask relevant questions. And then Krishna will help us.
Yeah, I have a second follow-up question on that. So, as you Prabhuji said, like our senses are imperfect and knowledge is limited, but so we need to take instruction from higher institution like Krishna or his devotees. Then why are in today's world we see, even though this knowledge is present, we all also accept the fact that our existence is temporary and smaller in nature, then why we always fight for winning the land or fighting with people across the world that we see today. So where is the gap? We are not able to convey these messages. We see that there are a lot of conferences, world leaders meeting each other, but why is this message not being able to pass and practice?
Because they don't know the secret.
Bigger objective.
They don't know the secret. They can't bring peace to the world. They can't bring true happiness to the world because they are not understanding the secret. Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagatapasam and Suridam Sarvabhutanam, that he's the supreme enjoyer, he's the supreme proprietor, and sacrifice, he's the enjoyer of all the sacrifice. He's the supreme controller of everything. So because people are foolishly thinking that I'm the controller, or, this is my country, and therefore we're having wars, we're having so much disturbances. So people need to become educated. Educated in who is Krishna. When they understand that Krishna owns everything, and Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, my activities are meant to please him. Then there can be peace in the world. Otherwise, we will go on like this. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. So my husband's question is, does chanting reduce sin? If yes, is it fair because anyone can sin and then chant a lot?
Yeah, that was my point, that yes, by chanting the Lord's holy name, you'll become free from sinful activities, but you have to become determined to stop those sinful activities. You can't continue your sinful activities. This is not a business. Like some religion, they go to the priest and confess the sins on Sunday, and Monday they're again committing so many sins. Right? Not like that. The Lord is ready to relieve us of the reaction of our sinful activities, but we must be determined not to commit the sins again. That's the point. And how can you develop that determination? You can develop that determination by associating with devotees. Otherwise, very difficult. Just like out in the world, if you associate people with that smoke, you'll also smoke. If you associate people with drink, you'll also drink. Is it not? In the same way, if you associate with people that are determined to make advancement in spiritual life, you'll also get that determination. Association. Sangat sanjayate kama. By association, we develop a desire. Right now we may not have desire. No desire for Krishna. Our desires for everything else but Krishna. Cricket, and this thing and that thing, so many things. The new car, this car, that car, right? a new girlfriend. I have a wife, but I'm thinking girlfriend. Going on, no? Chalte hain. So how to? Then you associate with people that are only thinking Krishna and Guru. They're thinking Krishna, they're thinking Guru. Then we can get the determination, the strength, spiritual strength, to become callous to sense gratification in the material world. Okay?
Do we have time for another question?
One more question.
Okay. Sorry, I give it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam.
Dhanbad.
Prabhuji, I wanted to know that since we are in this material body, everyone has some or the other diseases. So, how do we continue our devotional services in spite of having our diseases at the same level where we are fine?
See, as long as we have a material body, disease will come. But the devotee of the Lord sees that disease as a reminder of what his position is in the material world. The body is not permanent. It's not a permanent place. Just like if you go to a foreign country, you have a visa. You can stay as long as your visa allows you to stay. Then you have to go out. So in this body, we're like foreigners. And this body is connected to the visa. Right? You only get a certain amount of time. So due to the time factor, and the body will deteriorate and get some disease. Right? But if you keep yourself away from sinful activities, you'll get less disease. People that are sinful, they get more disease. So much eating meat. They want to eat everything anywhere, you know. Eat this thing, that thing. Bacha hai, jo bhi hai, khata hai, tabiyat kharab hai. Right? But if you be determined, no, I'll only eat Krishna Prasadam. I won't eat here, this restaurant, that restaurant. No, only Krishna Prasadam. Then that person can stay healthy. No illicit sex, no gambling. You follow these things and you'll stay healthy, more healthy. But because we have a material body, ultimately one day the body will die. It's not eternal, but the soul is eternal. So if we get into the connection of our real self, which is soul, then even though the body deteriorates, even though the body dies, we'll be fixed in Krishna. Dhiras tatra namuyat. That's the point. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for nicely giving us the power of the holy name and all about Krishna. So can we all, from the core of our heart, thank Prabhu once by loudly chanting the holy name? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We shall beg at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Gandharvika Giridhari that we get more association of yours in the next calendar year, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So there is some prasadam arranged for devotees. So on your way back in dining hall, regular place where we serve prasadam, you can go honor prasadam. Thank you very much.